Good morning to all of you. Namaskar. Myself Dr. Umesh Kumar Sapra from Postgraduate Department of Rog Nidan Chaudhary Brahmprakash Ayurved Charak Sansthan. I hope you like my previous class on the topic Shwas Rog. In continuation of the online classes, today I am presenting my topic bronchial asthma. Let's start with the presentation. So here is my presentation on the topic bronchial asthma. Myself, Dr. Umesh Kumar Sapra from Department of Rog Nidan, Chaudhary Prakash Ayurved Charak Sansthan, New Delhi. So this is the contents of the today's lecture, starting from the definition of bronchial asthma, followed by epidemiology, etiopathogenesis and types, then morphological features, clinical features, and diagnosis. So as you can see, this is the picture of respiratory tract starting from the nose to the alveoli. This can be divided into two parts, upper respiratory tract as well as lower respiratory tract. Bronchial asthma is basically related with the lower respiratory tract, which starts from trachea to the alveoli. Bronchial asthma comes under the broad umbrella of COPD. COPD is chronic obstructive pulmonary disease or chronic obstructive airway disease. This is a group of disorders which is chronic, having partial or complete obstruction in the airways starting from the trachea to the alveoli. Now coming to the bronchial asthma. As we know, this is a disease of airway. It is one of the disease of the COPD. The definition is it is characterized by increased responsiveness of the tracheobronchial tree to a variety of stimuli resulting in widespread spasmodic narrowing of the airway passages, which may be relieved spontaneously or by therapy. So the most important thing is that there is some kind of increased response either due to pollens, dust, fume, any kind of allergens which leads the changes in the tracheobronchial tree causing the narrowing of the airway passages which can be relieved spontaneously or automatically, or sometimes it requires medicines. So the symptomatology, as the picture says, cough, wheeze and dyspnea along with the chest tightness. This comes under asthma. Asthma is an episodic disease manifested by episodes of dyspnea, cough and wheeze. So friends, you know this is a disease which comes in the episode. So there are three main symptoms. First is dyspnea, followed by cough and wheezing. These three must be present to diagnose a patient with the asthma. And sometimes if the patient is having acute attack and it is not given emergency treatment, this results in a condition or stage known as status asthmaticus, and which may be proved fatal in the persons. Now coming to the epidemiology. This is common and prevalent worldwide. Most of the time 4% population is involved in United States. All ages are affected by the bronchial asthma, and 50% of the patient having the onset before the age of 10 years. In adults, both sexes are equally affected, but in children, there is predominance in male child in a ratio of 2:1 in than female. So this is the picture which shows the difference between normal and asthmatic lungs. You can see there is narrowing of the vessels. Now coming to the etiopathogenesis and types. Basically, it is divided into three types. First is extrinsic asthma, second is intrinsic asthma, and third is the mixed one. Extrinsic is also known as allergic as well as atopic. Intrinsic is known as idiosyncratic or non-atopic, and third one is combination of both symptoms, mixed type. You can see what is the difference. In extrinsic type, it is begun in the childhood or early adulthood. Personal or family history is always present preceding the allergies. Hypersensitivity to allergen is present, and when we go for investigation, immunoglobulin E level is increased in the serum, and there is always positive skin test. Whereas in intrinsic type, it develops later in the adulthood. There is no presence of family history of preceding allergies, no recognizable allergens, Ig levels are normal, and symptoms comes after a respiratory infection, emotional reaction, exercise, handling chemicals, or taking aspirin. This is again described here what we have learned in the previous. Extrinsic asthma is basically caused by ill effect of inhalation, just like house dust, pollen, animal danders, and molds. Occupational asthma stimulated by fumes, gases, and organic and chemical dust. So what we have discussed now, Ig level will be increased, skin test will be positive in extrinsic asthma. There will be hypersensitivity reaction, which is type 1, and basically divided into two types. One is acute immediate response, and second is late phase reaction. In acute immediate response, which is initiated by IgE sensitized mast cells on the mucosal surface. Mast cells on degranulations release mediators like histamine, leukotrienes, prostaglandins, platelet activating factors, and chemotactic factors for eosinophils and neutrophils. And what is the effect? The net effect of these mediators are, most important is bronchoconstriction, second is edema, third is mucus hypersecretions, followed by accumulation of eosinophils and neutrophils. In the late phase reaction, it follows the acute immediate response. It is responsible for the prolonged manifestation. It is caused by excessive mobilization of blood leukocytes that include basophils, beside eosinophils and neutrophils. This results in further release of mediators which increase the above mentioned effects. In addition, inflammatory injury is caused by neutrophil as well as major basic proteins of eosinophils. Now coming to the second type, intrinsic asthma. It is present in the adult life. Personal or family history of allergies, negative. When we perform skin test, it is negative, and Ig level are normal. In intrinsic asthma, patient develop typical symptoms complex after upper respiratory tract infections by viruses, and it is associated with nasal polyps as well as chronic bronchitis. There are no recognizable allergens. 10% of the patient are having hypersensitivity to drugs, just like aspirin. Now coming to the third type, this is diagnosed when the symptoms are neither in the first extrinsic type nor in the intrinsic type. So there are mixed features of both. Those patients who develop asthma in early life have strong allergic component, while those who develop the disease late tends to be non-allergic. Both types can be precipitated by cold, exercise, or emotional stress. Now coming to the morphological features. Changes are basically similar in both types of asthma. The pathological material examined is generally autopsy of the lungs. Grossly, the lungs are over distended due to overinflation. The cut surface shows characteristic occlusion of the bronchi and bronchioles by viscid mucus plugs. This is the picture showing the difference between normal airways as well as airways of a bronchial asthma patient. You can see in normal airways there is smooth muscles, mucus lining, lumen is open and blood vessels are present. Whereas in bronchial asthma there is decreased lumen diameter. So there is vasoconstriction. Second is excess presence of mucus. Third is inflammation as well as swelling. And blood vessels inflated by immune cells. Contracted smooth muscles are also there. So this is the basic difference between normal airway as well as airway of a bronchial asthma patient. Now coming to the microscopic features. The most important characteristic feature of bronchial asthma patient are: first is Charcot-Leyden crystals and second is Cashman's spirals. So you can see rhomboid shapes Charcot-Leyden crystals in the patients of bronchial asthma. This is the microscopic picture of Charcot-Leyden crystals. Next is Cashman spirals. So these are the respiratory epithelia forming the spirals. In the picture you can see in the upper part there is presence of Cashman spirals. Cytology: there is presence of eosinophils, Charcot-Leyden crystals which are rhomboid shaped crystalloids, and Cashman spirals and having excess of mucus. This is also seen in chronic bronchitis. Cashman spirals are also present in chronic bronchitis, but their difference is Charcot-Leyden crystals and eosinophils. Both will be absent. Microscopically, what we have discussed, the sputum usually contain numerous eosinophils and diamond-shaped crystals derived from the eosinophils known as Charcot-Leyden crystals. And what are Cashman spirals? These are the mucus plugs containing normal or degenerated respiratory epithelia forming twisted strips. Third point is bronchial walls are thickened. Basement membrane of the bronchial epithelium, mucus edema, as well as inflammatory infiltrate consisting of lymphocytes and plasma cells with prominence of eosinophils. There is hypertrophy of submucous glands as well as bronchial smooth muscles. Changes of bronchitis and emphysema may supervene, especially in intrinsic asthma, as we have seen in earlier slides. Changes of bronchial asthma as well as emphysema are also seen in bronchial asthma patients in the COPD cases. Now coming to the clinical features. As I have discussed, there is paroxysms of dyspnea, cough and wheeze. Paroxysm means episodes. Patient becomes normal within the episodes. Sometimes this episode may last from few minutes to few hours depending on the allergens. And sometimes there is severe attack which is known as status asthmaticus. And in chronic patients of bronchial asthma, there may be presence of cor pulmonale, means there is involvement of heart along with the lungs. So these are the symptoms. Apart from the triad symptom, just like paroxysms of dyspnea, cough and wheeze, there may be presence of chest tightness, Sometimes there may be tightness in the neck muscles, choking sensation, difficulty in talking, anxiousness, then rapid breathing, pale and sweating face. So these may be associated in severe cases. Now coming to the investigation. Most common investigation what we prescribe in respiratory tract is chest X-ray. But in the case of bronchial asthma, chest X-ray is normal in 70% of the patients. In some cases, you may find features just like hyperinflation of the lungs, diaphragmatic fattening, bronchial valve thickening, as well as hilar enlargement. Generally, X-ray is not advisable in the patient of bronchial asthma. Then spirometry. Spirometry is very important investigation in the patient of respiratory tracts. It helps to find out the severity. Here we find the forced expiratory volume in 1 second, that is known as FEV1 and forced vital capacity FVC. Some other tests just like peak flow meter testing. Then in blood test we go for eosinophil counts, that is increased in case of allergies, or specific immunoglobulin E level. We go for allergy skin prick test to find out the cause. Now coming to the diagnosis. Most of the time the diagnosis is clinical, which is supported by the demonstration of circulation, eosinophilia, and sputum demonstration of Cushman spirals and Charcot-Leyden crystals. So clinical diagnosis along with the blood investigation, eosinophilia, along with the sputum examination cause having Cushman spirals and Charcot-Leyden crystals will lead to the diagnosis of bronchial asthma. Now coming to the summary of the today's lecture. Spasmodic narrowing of the airways, as we have discussed. There is presence of triad of paroxysms of dyspnea, cough and wheeze. There are basically two types, extrinsic and intrinsic types. So friends, hope you liked today's lecture. It was just like the correlation of stomach Schwarz, which is described in literature, with the bronchial asthma. So what is the today's take home message? Take home message is always go for examination of the patients with the stethoscope. What you will find? You will find wheezing, and that wheezing will be expiratory. Expiratory wheezes are diagnosis of bronchial asthma, and it should be treated immediately so that it should not progress or it should not have further complications. So hope you like today's lecture. Thank you for your patience hearing. Namaskar.